treasure million.
Chai, breaking news about South Africa. If I tell you guys that South Africa black, they are slave in that country called South Africa, you guys, this is a joke. Finally, the white South Africa have come out and exposed everything what is happening in South Africa. At this point of time, guys, you need to sit down, watch the video to the end, make you see for your eyes, not be saying I mean they talk ham. What the video first?
There's two sides to this story, and this is what you talk about fairness. So let's mention, for example, the economic impact that shows, our own statistics, South Africa show, that each immigrant that is having a business here employs at least 3 to 4 people, contributes taxes. Nobody ever talks about that. We never talk about the dysfunctionality of Home Affairs in terms of its documentation crisis, where most people who are deemed, quote, illegal are simply without documentation. We don't talk about the 4 million South African citizens who are undocumented, who have to wait years for their documentation. What about them? What about, it's a documentation crisis, it's a systemic crisis. And what we're saying is, we recognize, I wonder why, for example, there was no mention of the Kopanang African Xenophobia March, which happened 2 weeks ago in this very city with hundreds and hundreds of people with exactly the different kind of message. We don't talk about these things. So we're creating a very similar kind of thing to the United States, which is this anger that is then directed towards those who, by the way, built this city that we're very much in. Migrants built this city from Mozambique and Zimbabwe, miners who worked here, who created much of the wealth of the city we live in. And now we're trying to blame them for all of these ills, when in fact, if we start looking at the factual information about joblessness, there's no statistical evidence, there's no evidence that suggests that foreign nationals are taking away many jobs. What we have is we have a macroeconomic policy that basically privileges corporate capital and big investments and doesn't support small-scale township economies. So if, for example, you even kick out all the spaza shop owners tomorrow and say all the foreign nationals are in, and every single South African citizen, would those small-scale businesses survive because of our own policies? No. You ask a South African spaza shop owner, they're facing exactly the same problems. So instead of making this an immigration, foreign citizen issue, we should make it a governance issue, a policy issue, and politicians have a lot to answer for, because that's where people are protesting. Water, electricity, education, health, housing. Those can't be blamed on foreign nationals, who make up, by the way, less than 4% of our population.
Child, when I don't watch the video, South Africa Blank is saying that foreigners in South Africa have taken all the whole job in South Africa. While you guys know that if companies give South Africa work, they will not value that work. But when they give it to foreigners will know the purpose why they are in the country. You are blaming the foreigners over there. That is why you are heartless, chasing all the whole foreigners. At this point of time, South Africa, on a go learn in hard way.